Lads, lasses and the rest of the masses, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mono from Mono CFC and this is a match reaction to Chelsea versus Aston Villa. This will be a rambly video, almost like a podcast, because to be quite honest, I just don't have the time to be able to do a full tactical breakdown video like I would usually do, and the Brighton preview in time for the Brighton match. So I've had to sacrifice one of those videos, and the breakdown is the one that I'm having to sacrifice. I've got some notes, obviously. I have 5 things I want to talk about, so this will be a mini 5 things video, if you like. The first thing I want to talk about, and I don't like talking about these, but I'm going to have to, is the fact that the referees were absolutely awful. This was one of the worst refereeing performances I've watched in over 2 decades of football. Calling time early when Chelsea were searching for a goal, 2 minutes early, and some of the injury time was taken up by Martinez just time wasting on the ball. Not booking players for time wasting like Martinez, he got away with this far too often, never got a booking for it. The Jackson booking was also really bizarre, and he's now going to be suspended because he's racked up 5 yellows. This whole situation is just stupid. He's booked Jackson for standing still and Martinez blasting the ball at him, which, I guess he is in an illegal position, but it's not up to Martinez to enforce that rule, it's up to the referee to tell Jackson to stand back. Martinez then kicks the ball at him deliberately with the intention of harming him, which is violent conduct, by the way, and probably should be a red card. Remember when Fabregas got a red card for doing that exact thing for us a few years ago? Yeah, it doesn't get enforced when it's against Chelsea, does it? Obviously, the main decision that most of us are angry about is the Malo Gusto sending off. He got sent off for winning the ball. This isn't even a foul, let alone a red card. He cleanly wins the ball well before contact is made, and this was a horrendous decision. The argument is that he was endangering an opponent, but literally every time you go in for a tackle, you're endangering an opponent. It's a contact sport, it's always dangerous. It's a ridiculous way of looking at things. He just goes in for a tackle and wins the ball. There's no malice in the tackle or anything. It's bloody ridiculous, and it cost us the game. I hate talking about referees, but they seem to screw us over every single game now, and it's genuinely concerning. Jose Mourinho said it best: there is an agenda against Chelsea. They bloody hate us. The PGMOL, or whatever you want to call it, needs to sort this out because the refereeing standard is so poor across the entire league. It's almost like they do it deliberately to create drama and intrigue, eh? The second thing I want to talk about is that there were actually some good things to take away from this game, surprisingly. Obviously, whenever you lose, it's never a good thing, but we did get some good things that we can take away and some positives that we can kind of focus on rather than all the negatives that came from this game. The first one is Mudryk. He was creating chances and showing flashes of brilliance, but again, we just hardly gave him the ball. We just preferred to give it to Sterling and Gusto, who have woeful final balls. Mudryk could have had 2 assists in this game, but Jackson had another stinker, which is slightly concerning. Sanchez looked great once again. He kept us in the game at times, and that's exactly what you expect with your goalie. He could have done a little bit better for the goal he conceded, but it is through his legs, and obviously he's 6'6", so getting down isn't the easiest thing for a goalie of that size. So I don't blame him too much, especially with all the work he had to do earlier in the game. In general, the defence looked quite good until Gusto went off, and then we had to shift things around. Palmer also looked good when he came on, a lot more direct than before, and he picked out a few nice passes to create opportunities. I would like to see him get a consistent run of games because I think that's impacting him, and the fact that he's not getting that consistent run of games is not helping him. The same way that I said about Mudryk, where Mudryk was getting 15-minute cameos and it just wasn't helping his progression, and now he's gotten 2 starts in a row and he's actually started to perform. So maybe if we can do the same thing with Palmer on the other side, I would genuinely put him in instead of Sterling at the moment. Maybe we can get some good performances out of him too. The last positive is Broja has finally returned. It's very good to see the lad get back on the grass, if only for a short cameo. He'll likely start the next game, which will be wonderful to see. Hopefully he can gain more fitness and perhaps bag a goal in that one. The third thing I want to talk about is Raheem Sterling. He is back to being absolutely awful. He had a small purple patch against utterly atrocious opposition, and now he's back to the player that I warned you guys about during pre-season. Palmer or Madueke should start over him. there's that one chance which is just constantly in my head. Why does he not square that to Jackson? This was before Gusto got sent off at 0-0, by the way, and would have probably won us the game. It's ridiculous that the level of decision making is so in the bin. And anyone can see that the obvious thing to do there was to pass it across goal, Jackson gets the tap in, then we go up 1-0, and then we can build off that. We can't get any confidence if we don't ever take our chances, and Sterling, of all people, who is a tap-in merchant, let's be real, when he was playing at Man City, should know that the best thing to do is pass it across the goalkeeper. Goalkeeper can't do anything in a 2v1. So why are you taking the ego duel and trying to score after you've already missed like 3 chances before that? That's another thing I want to talk about Sterling, is that he could not beat Martinez. I think Martinez must have gone into his head or something, because he just kept putting it at him over and over again, and it was just awful. He could not score, which is another reason why it's concerning that he didn't pass. Surely, like if you've seen earlier in the game that you can't score, that you would just pass it instead next time and think, oh well, I'm not going to score this time, I'll pass it instead and see if we can get a goal. Speaking of poor performances, the fourth thing I want to talk about is a player that I've talked about this in the past, and every single time it keeps happening, and I keep getting proved right. Thiago Silva has to go. He is so poor. Everyone's always clamoring for experience. I got loads of people in my comments back in preseason saying, "Oh, this team doesn't have any experience. We have no leaders." Well, it's the experienced players that are letting us down every week, and the younger ones that are actually performing. He's once again done this stupid thing where he steps out of position and isolates his defensive partner. This is the 3rd goal in 6 matches that have directly been his fault and have led us to losing the game. He's simply not good enough anymore, and his inclusion is forcing us to play other players like Colwill out of position in order to accommodate him. I just want to see a back 4 where we have a left back, we have Colwill at left centre back, we have Disasi at right centre back, who has also been absolutely scapegoated for some reason. Everyone on Twitter is clambering about Disasi being terrible when he's literally been one of, if not our best centre back this entire season so far. And then obviously Gusto or James, when he comes back, can play it right back. That's all I want to see. I don't want to see Thiago Silva in this game. He can rotate in for cup performances. Like, I would be perfectly fine with that. But having a 39-year-old player in your back line as one of your starting centre-backs is just ridiculous. And I know he is a good player, and he was a very good player. And obviously, despite his age, he is a great player. He's just starting to get to the point now where he's over the hill. And he's getting worse and worse and worse as the days go on. He doesn't ever play the ball fast enough. He slows our whole play down. He forces us to play this stupid 3 at the back. I would love to see the back of him. I love the man. I love their whole family. They're great. But he is just not good enough to play for this team anymore, and he needs to be put onto the bench. That's just my opinion. The 5th thing, I want to talk about the whole quote-unquote Poch out situation. Yeah, absolutely not. Have you guys not learned anything from the last year or so? Sacking a manager just breeds new problems. We just rinse and repeat the same thing. We boot out a manager, we bring in a new manager, they need time to adjust, and then after the time for adjust has gone over, people question that manager because things haven't gone well and the players aren't gelling, and then we sack that manager, and it just keeps going on and on and on and on. I said it last video, you can lead the horse to water, but it has to drink itself. It can't be forced to drink. We play decent football and we create chances, but same old, a Chelsea player lets him down over and over again. We are only 6 games in and we have an entirely new squad. It's going to take time to gel, that's obvious. Do I think Poch is making some odd decisions at times? Yes, but those decisions aren't what's causing us to lose games. It's a simple case of our forwards just not converting, that's it. Sterling squares that chance to Jackson, or Jackson scores that 1v1 from Mudrik's pass, and we all go home happy with a win, and we don't talk about Poch at all. And this will happen with any manager we bring in. We've gone through 5 managers in the space of about 2 years, and they've all had the same issue. Chelsea can't score their chances. It doesn't matter who is at the helm if our forwards don't start stepping up. We need to remember as well that we are in an injury crisis. 12 players out, now 11 with Brozic returning admittedly, is so hard to overcome, especially when most of those players are players that would start or regularly play for us. We lost Nkunku and Carney, which are two key players in a very key position, as well as our club captain Reece James. Obviously Badiashile is out as well, who would definitely come straight into the lineup. Fofana is also a player that would probably come into the lineup because he was playing regularly until he got injured. we need to just calm down a bit, I think, overall. And I think this reactionary bollocks of everyone saying, oh, we need to throw Poch out after 6 games in the league is just utterly ridiculous, and that's a shambolic way of thinking. We will never progress as an institution if we keep on with this stupid sack a manager, hope it gets better, sack a manager, play off a purple patch thing. It's never going to be sustainable, and we need to just get over this hump. And once we are over this hump and the players start gelling and stuff, people will see the fruits of this whole project, and people will understand why we're having to go through the bads to get to the goods. If you look with any project that's happened recently, like I think the good example of this is Arteta. Arteta has been at the Arsenal position in Arsenal for like multiple years now, and when he started he was awful. They didn't look very good. They were kind of carried, their results were carried because they still had very good players. Obviously we have a lot of new players, but it took him a lot of time to get his system working. It took specific players coming in to make that system work, and now look at them, they are flying in the league, and they flew in the league last year and probably had the best season they've had for some time. And it just takes a couple of years. You have to get over it. That's the thing. We just have to wait a couple of years and we'll be there. And unfortunately, that's just the thing we'll have to do. And it doesn't matter which manager is in. And I don't care if we sack Potter and get a new manager. I'm gonna say the same thing. We just need to give them time, because we haven't given any manager in the last like 2 years any time to actually put things together. I think the most time we gave was Potter, but once again, Potter didn't have a striker at all. He was playing Havertz every single week because we didn't have a striker. Obviously, our only other striker was Aubameyang, who was never going to really perform in the Premier League. But I digress. We move on to a cup tie against Brighton on Wednesday, under the lights at Stamford Bridge, so we need to keep our chins up and keep moving forward. The preview for that will be out tomorrow or early morning on game day. But that was just my reaction to Chelsea 0, Aston Villa 1. Thank you ever so much for watching. Let me know your thoughts on this match in the comment section below, and if you'd be so kind, subscribe to the channel and leave the video a like if you enjoyed. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you never miss a video from me, or check out some of the other videos on the channel on screen right now. I've been Mono from Mono TFC, and remember, in the rain or in the dry, keep that blue flag flying high. Come on, you Blues.